Hello, welcome back to 3D Drawing for your Model Railway. In today's episode on the long welded rail train, I'm looking to start drawing the complex process of going onto the crane parts on the front here, or the arms. Now they are really quite complex and difficult. They're made up of various different parts, and I might find that as I start working my way through it, I've got to take some backward steps to try and be able to make it more achievable. And I'm also going to break it down into probably multiple episodes and work through different elements of it, because as I say, there's so much within there, and I've got a myriad of photos with different measurements and stuff on there. It's going to be a little bit choppy for me to try and find the bits and pieces I need for each part. So please bear with me while I work through this, and as I say, I'll try and make it as painless as possible as we go through it. So if we look at the crane itself, or the arms themselves, they're made up of, as I say, multiple parts. We've got a mounting point on the end here, which just looks like a little bit of a channel that these arms sit in with a pin that holds them in. The main part of this element here, this is a separate part coming down here at a different angle. You can see that this angle here doesn't match, so this vertical angle is slightly diagonal to this one going across here, so that's going to be a different angle and plane. You've then got the little grabs on the end here, which are for holding the rails, and the hydraulic arms and rams that are attached to each of those. The pipes themselves, I'm not going to worry about drawing the pipes. They would just be too delicate and most likely would fail when printing. If you want to add these in, the best thing to do would be using a little bit of wire painted black afterwards. But yeah, as I say, we're going to work through this, taking each element at a time, trying to work it best way to be able to print them. Okay, so the first thing looking at this is we've got a vertical face on the inside here. This diagonal doesn't come all the way down. So I'm going to jump into Fusion, an offset plane. I'm going to do it vertical to this one because that's a vertical face. And obviously make sure your RHV is radio button checked on there. I'm going to create a sketch on that profile. I'm just going to draw a rectangle. Define from the edge, I'm going to 0.3 on both sides. And then I'm going to vertically constrain to the bottom of the edge there where it cuts down. Height wise, there's no measurement, but I'm going to guess it's about 4, 5, maybe 6 inches. I'm going to go somewhere like 0.9, and then I'm just going to select that profile and we're going to cut that in, I think maybe 1.5 because that's just level with the top there. That's actually a little bit too much. Let's go 1.4. Yeah, that's better because we haven't got a lip on the inside there now. So 1.4, I'll cut that back in. Right, so the next thing we'll draw is these two top mounting brackets here. This is where the arms attach into the RHV. So come back into Fusion. They're going to be, it's going to be the best way to do this. Just trying to work out. So we could draw, draw an offset plane to that. So back into Fusion, if we find the midpoint, the midpoint of the wagon, which will be the midpoint of the RHV. If I do an offset plane from that midpoint, how far do we want to offset it? Not a lot. going to do, say, 0.5 millimeters. And then we'll draw on that. Okay, so the profile we're looking for, let's have a look. Diagonal out. It comes from where that top is. So here. To project that edge, that edge. I'm wondering if this height might need to be more there. Okay. Right, let's draw a line. Come down from there. Let's go 1.5 millimeters down. I'm going to do 90 degrees to that, so 0.3 millimeters wide at 90 degrees to it. And bring it down to the same length, so 1.5 millimeters. Okay, I'm going to draw this coming out. Thickness. And we'll join onto there like that. Thickness there will go for 0.3 as well. Need to work out a length on that. Okay, so we don't actually have a length of it coming out, but we do have the width of it. Let's give it a length of 1.5 millimeters. If we can extrude that, so it's 111 millimeters divided by 148. This I'm gonna make this bigger, I think. Edit that sketch. Let's make the height. Let's go to 1.4 mil. And then we'll extrude a little bit deeper. Extrude 1.75 mil. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make this a bit longer as well. Okay, so we've gone 1.75 on those. Finish first sketch. radius at the end of it. It's a full arc radius. So create a sketch on the top surface of that. We could put a circle on there, that'll probably do it. No. Let's use the arc tool. Tangent arc. Although that's not even going to do what I want. Unless I do that. Yeah, just do that. Curve on the end there. Create that tangent arc. And extrude it. Bottom. And then we'll just do the mirror features. Do that arc, arm, and the mirror plane would be plane 1. Okay, on top of these there's a couple of circular mounting points. I'm just going to draw them because I'm going to potentially use them to create the angle. So create a sketch on the top surface, and just going to create that circle on here. I'm going to go for 0.4 millimeters in diameter, and we'll extrude it. Let's just come up 0.1, and again we'll mirror that. Plane 1. Okay, so to now get the plane at an angle for the arms, what I'm going to do is create a sketch on the top surface of that circle. Make sure that you've got the 3D sketch selected. Select line tool, find the midpoint of the circle. I'm going to select this little face here, and I'm going to tab over to the degrees box now, put 90 in there. That should come vertical now. And click OK. We should now have a vertical line from the midpoint of that circle. Finish that sketch, that'll stay there now, which is what we're after. And then we can use plane at an angle, select that line, and we should be able to, although it's really difficult because it's small, select an angle from there. I'm going to go for something like 20 degrees. Then we'll be able to draw on that plane to draw the basic body of the arm. Okay, so let's now create a sketch on that profile. Turn that 3D button off. This is where it's going to get a little bit complicated because these shapes and sizes are all a little bit on the difficult side to follow. One thing that we do need to be aware of is I think that top part is pretty much flat there. Obviously that can go up and down, so that's going to cause that to be a bit of a questionable piece, because if that ram's lifted then that will be sitting higher, but we're just going to have to sort of play with it and see. So start with creating a line, but actually project on that line there for the bottom of this part we created. Create. Should we do it as a separate component? I'm thinking maybe we do. Actually, let's finish that sketch. Let's bin that one off. Let's go back in here, create a new component. Call it arm. Okay, let's create a sketch. Oh, no. We're going to need to create the plane at the angle again. So we'll use that again. Create that 20 degrees angle to start with, and then sketch on there. So we're about to create that again in a separate folder for the component, and then we can do project on that bottom edge. Yeah, so let's start at the midpoint, and let's just bring it out, down, up, and up. Now obviously that I've just drawn a weird shape there. I've not really tried to pick anything specific with it. Okay, so let's see what we can do here then. So on this end, we've got a rough thickness of 12 centimeters. So let's dimension that as 120 divided by 1.8. So we're going to go 0.81. Okay, so the length of the arm from where it joins to this top bracket, which is that bracket there, that's the point we're looking at, is 42 inches to that point. But there will be some distance inside here. So that's 42 inches from there. Okay, looking at Paul's diagram, that's 7 inches, so it's 49 inches from that point we're drawing here. So we can do a line that goes from there, comes along. We can define the length of that line as 49 inches by 148. That doesn't look right. That just doesn't sound right to me at all. No, wait a minute, that's too... That might be right. No, that might be right. So we've got 49 inches there. Okay, let's see if we've got a measurement then from that point down. So that's trying to work out where we're actually looking at here. Okay, so we've got 94 inches at an angle to that. Okay, so 94 inches is 16.13, so that's looking like that's fine. Okay, so now I've got a measurement from Paul that this thickness here is 5.5 inches. 5.5 inch divided by 1.8, and that would then draw that line to there. That should then give us, there's a measurement thickness at that point, 13 inches. That point down is 13 inches there, 1.56 millimeters. That doesn't work out thick enough. So what could we do to thicken that up? So we could make this bigger, so we go 1.2 millimeters on there. And we've thickened this up. We go 1.2 millimeters on there as well. Could be that that needs to go up more. Let's get rid of that, and that, because that's not needed now. See, we could take that. Yeah, let's undo that. That's not what we want. Make that thicker there. That's now 2.2, that would work. So what we can do then is create a vertical line coming out there. It's just going to be a little bit of fudge there, so we've got a flat surface. The flat surface is 1.2 millimeters long. We then delete that part and add in that there. I know it's a bit of a fudge, but it's going to create us rough dimensions and sizes that we need there. That's going to be the basic arm. If we extrude that, on this one we need a thickness of 185 mil. And we'll do that symmetrical. So it'll be 92.5. 5 divided by 1.8. Wait for it to catch up. There we go. Okay, so that's that arm. Okay, so clearly our angle's not going to work because that's way outside. So we can change the angle here. We bring that down to, let's go 15 degrees. Let's see what that does with this piece. Still a little bit too far out. I'm going to change to 12.5. Yeah, so I'm going to go for 12.5. Okay, so that's the basic arm shape, I think, that we can go for. Okay, what I'm going to do next, I'm going to just cut a little channel out in the end here for this piece to sit in. So we create a sketch on that top surface. Just create a rectangle, I think. Zero 0.2 from the sides. And a depth of 1.75 mil. And then we can extrude that, cutting out that section on the end there. the separate piece will come down from there to the rail. Unfortunately, I don't really have many measurements for this, especially these little bits and angles and stuff on the end. So again, it's going to be a little bit of a make it up as we go along. I'm going to create a sketch on the inside profile of the part we just used. And slice through. So let's use a 3-point rectangle to start with. Find a thickness of that, which is probably about the one of only the few measurements we do have of it. About 10 centimeters, 100 mil. A separate angle part coming up the top here. Find the angle in there as, let's get that piece to that piece. Let's do an angle of 80. Height wise, let's go 1.5, so that takes it maybe a bit more. Maybe 2 mil on the height. Length of this piece 4.3 mil. Angle piece from the midpoint there, come across. Again, and then that line go in. So this piece is connected to the midpoint. Let's go for 0.8 on there. And we'll get a tangent arc that will go from that point to that point. So 0.68 is my thickness I'm going for most of it. Let's define that point to there. Height wise, we'll go for 0.3. And distancing, we'll go 0.3 as well. We'll see where that puts it. We need to define that to give us the angle. We'll go for 0.5 on that. That equals straight all of that. Okay, so now we've got this diagonal piece with a tangent arc off of it there. small piece there. Let's take across. That probably is way too wide. Maybe not. Find the length of that as 0.2. Angle in there. 1.45. Make sure that these two are perpendicular to each other. So I'm going to define the height from there, to there, so 0.9, and then we can put the tangent arc in there. Okay, this needs an angle here for you to follow. So 1, 3, 8. So that's now all constrained. We should be able to now select all of these profiles and extrude. Let's just do 0.5 to start with, just so we get rid of the slice edit feature and the extrusion. We shall extrude it to that inside face. So that's 0.85. Okay, let's little roll to the top. This piece really needs to be over the rail, so now we can play around again with our angle till we get that piece over the top of the rail. (14.5 degrees) puts it over the top. Okay, I'm going to stop this video at this point because I think I've dragged it on quite a bit and there's quite a lot to do there. But I think we're starting to get the basic shape of the arm taking form for us there. So hopefully you've been able to follow along. If you haven't, give me a shout, I'll try and help you. If you've got any questions or would like to make any comments, then by all means leave a comment below and I'll see if we can start a conversation about it. So thanks for watching.